What's up guys, this is Jaden from Team Major J. Welcome to the channel. You guys wanted it, so here it is, our final showcasing of our Platinum 1 Meta Breaking Dinosaur deck. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Alright, let's get at it.
It's time to duel!
Alright, let's get into the first duel. And actually in the first duel I want to show you guys how even if you don't have the optimum hand, you can actually end on some crazy end boards with just Lost World and a Scrap Raptor. So here we're going to activate Pots of Prosperity. And we have a lot of different options, and most people will probably choose the Oviraptor, but here I want to just show you guys, if you have the Scrap Raptor and Lost World, you can end on some crazy boards. So we're going to activate Lost World ability here to summon an egg, activate Scrap Raptor, popping the Raptor. Of course, this means we can add Scrap Chimera to our hand, and we're going to summon the Penkatops. You don't actually need Penkatops for this combo, but we have it, so we might as well use it. So Scrap Chimera is going to bring back the Scrap Raptor, and now we can link into Scrap Wyvern. So now we can activate the ability, returning the Chimera. It doesn't really matter which scrap you bring back here. Popping it, using his ability to summon a Scrap Raptor from the deck. Now you're going to try to pop the token. And of course with the ability of Lost World, you can protect the token, popping a baby. And now you can summon your Oviraptor. So now Oviraptor ability is going to allow you to add miscellaneous to your hand. And now we can pop the egg. Now we can protect it. We don't need to protect it. Bringing back the baby. And now you can send Miscellaneousaurus to be able to bring out your Archosaur, getting your double evolution pill. And now the combo just pretty much feels the same as the rest. You can now get Giant Rex and go in here to Appaloosa. So we have our first 3 negates on the field. And we're not even close to being done there because we can activate double evolution pill. Of course, when you remove Giant Rex, he comes back, which gives us just more bodies on the field that you can just go into some more crazy stuff. So here we're going to go into Borreload Savage, and I believe our opponent's going to scoop here, so I'm going to just stop it right here a little bit. So we have 3 negates with Appaloosa, we have an Omni negate with Borreload Sword, we have of course the huge disruption with Tyranno, and even here, you know, we have like a quick effect pop, and then we still have Call by the Grave. So just with 2 cards, the Lost World and a Scrap Raptor, you can end on some crazy boards. Yeah, like I said, our opponent scoop, and we move on to the next duel. Alright, let's get into the second duel. And once again, we don't have the most optimal hand. Even though we have the Mish and the Baby, which usually ends on some insane boards, the fact that we drew double Baby kind of messes up the Giant Rex part of the combo. So we're still going to try to make this work. So we activate Terraforming, get Lost World. Of course, we play the Lost World, use his Mish ability to summon the Archosaur, which means, of course, we can pop the Baby and also give our opponent a token. This allows us to draw the double evolution pill from our deck. And the Baby ability activates in the grave. We're going to, of course, choose Oviraptor. And here we're pretty much just setting up for the next turn. We know our board isn't going to be so crazy that it can't be broken. So we're also thinking about how can we make the next turn better. So you guys seen this combo before. We're going to pop the Scrap Raptor, add Scrap Chimera to our hand, summon the Chimera, which allows us to add the Scrap Raptor back to our hand. And here we're going to first go into Link Karibo. And that's pretty much just food for double evolution pill because you have to remove a card that's also not a dinosaur. And here we could go into Scrap Wyvern. So this part of the combo you guys also know, we're going to bring back the Chimera, which allows us to pop the Chimera. And when this happens, we could bring a Scrap Raptor out of our deck. Of course, we're going to pop the egg because, like I said, we don't have the Giant Rex and stuff like that for additional fodder. So we have to get rid of the card on his side of the field, unfortunately. We do actually like to leave the egg so that they can't target us with like lightning storms and stuff, but we don't have a choice at this point. So we're going to summon Ultimate Conductor Tyranno and pass to our opponent. And this is still a decent board. We still have 4 interruptions. We have 3 negates and of course the interruption from Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. So our opponent gets rid of our Lost World. So it wouldn't have actually mattered if we kept the egg or not, so that's fine. We're going to of course negate Nerval because we don't want him going off. And here he's going to summon Warbler. We're going to negate this too, because we're just trying to decrease our opponent resources as much as possible, and we can take over in the next turn. Because we know the moment we activate Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, we do have the Baby in hand that we can pop, which allows us to get an Oviraptor and so on, and this way we can keep the duel going. So our opponent's going to summon. This is where we activate Conductor. We're going to flip his cards face down so he can't exceed summon. And we're going to add the Raptor, which allows us to add a Mish to our hand. And now things are looking pretty good. Our opponent couldn't even out the Appaloosa, even though she's at 0. So we also have a card, if needed, to sacrifice for something else. Here we're going to go into Borreload, because it's just a safe play. We don't know what his face down card is. And this pretty much just means we win unless our opponent has something crazy, because he only has one phase down card. We know what the monsters are, and we can just start running over. So we're going to use Conductor Tyranno's ability here to inflict 1000 damage attacking all its face down card. We're going to go pretty much for game here. Our opponent's going to activate Revolt, but like I said, we do have the Borrow Load, so we're going to negate this, of course. And now we're just free to just attack opponent directly with 3500, and of course the Borrow Load Savage with 3850 game. So even if you don't have the most optimum start, you can add on enough interruptions and prepare yourself for the next duel, and for the next turn, and like you see the results. Alright, so let's get into the third duel. So we drew pretty much dead here. This is not the ideal hand what you want. We don't have a baby, we don't have any field card for the Scrap Raptor, we don't have the Mish. So we're going to Fossil Day, we're going to take Soul Eating Oviraptor, and I just want to showcase you guys how the deck can actually recover. So the Soul Eating Oviraptor is going to, of course, add the Mish. We're going to toss the Mish and then remove the Mish to summon Orcosaur. And then we're going to pop the Giant Rex, which is actually quite important because we're taking the double evolution pill, of course. So we're going to pop the Orcosaur here, bring back the Rex, and then we're going to exceed into Lagia, because at least we do have like pretty much like an Omni Negate at this point, and we do have the Infinite Impermanence, so we can negate 2 cards at this point. So we feel confident enough to survive for the next turn. Unfortunately, our opponent's going to drop Lesser, and then we see the Thunder Dragon. So they're going to toss the Thunder Dragon in order to add another Thunder Dragon to their hand. So then they set, and then they tribute straight into Thunder Dragon Colossus. So not looking great, but we do have the Infinite. And then they, of course, add the Dragon Matrix back to their hand at this point. And he's going to run over Alagia. So things aren't looking great. We're actually going to need a pretty decent draw here. He also sets a card face down. And we end up drawing another Infinite Impermanent. But we can still make this work because, like I said, that was the whole point of getting the Giant Rex in the grave. So we can remove our 2 cards now, which returns the Giant Rex, of course, when he is removed from play. So we're going to flip the Thunder Dragon face down and pop Scrap Raptor to get the Chimera, and then of course we can summon the Chimera extra time because of the Scrap Raptor's ability. We get an extra normal summon, and I just want to show you guys that you can actually use the ability here of Scrap Wyvern also to your advantage to pretty much just go for game, because dinosaurs do quite a lot of damage, especially with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. So we're going to pop our Scrap Raptor, add 1 from deck, pop his dragon, and we're just lucky here. We can actually just go in for game, but he also kind of misplayed because he tend to put his card in our column, and you guys should still be, you know, careful of Infinite Impermanence, because if he had activated a card like when we activated Conductor, we'll be able, of course, negate his Thunder Dragon. That was the point, and we'll also be able to then negate the Magical Trap card what was here in his field because Infinite Impermanence. So try never to set a card in the same column because people still do play Infinite Impermanence. Alright, this is the third duel. I actually want to show you guys the power of Lost World, because like you can see, we don't have an optimal hand at all, but Lost World is so overpowered if you play it right. So we're going to activate Pot of Prosperity. Like you see, we also didn't get any great choices, but we do choose a baby because we do have the Orcosaur in our hand. So we're going to activate Lost World here, summon Orcosaur, which allows us to then, of course, pop the baby like you guys know, and also add a double evolution pill to our hand after giving our opponent also a token. So you guys gonna see a different way to combo off here. So of course now we can add the Oviraptor, of course add the Mish, and this is pretty much where the combos are pretty much the same except with one little difference. So we're gonna try to pop the token, use Lost World to defend it, add a Scrap Raptor from the baby. Now we could pop the Scrap Raptor, add Scrap Chimera like you guys know, and then we're gonna be able to summon the Chimera, which allows us to get the Scrap Raptor back. And here we're gonna link into Link Karibo. Don't forget, double evolution pill food. And here we throw the Mish, and this is where the combo is a little bit different. We're going to remove 2 in order to get a baby instead of the Archosaur, what you usually see. At this point, I'm actually going to speed it up because you guys do pretty much know the rest of this combo. You can get the Chimera, pop the Chimera, bring a Scrap Raptor out. Now we can pop the baby, get Giant Rex. We could go into Appaloosa. And pretty much here, we're going to end that on a board that you guys seen before, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. And of course, with Scrap Raptor and Giant Rex, we could go into Borrow Load Savage. So at this point, I want to show you guys the second ability of Lost World, what people tend to forget, because our opponent's going to start off his turn and activate Forbidden Chalice. However, because Lost World's on the field, our opponent can only target the token with card effects. It literally said, while your opponent controls a token, they cannot target monsters on the field with card effects except the token. So he pretty much wasted his chalice here. He was forced to use it then on the token. He's going to activate Fractal. We're going to negate this with Appaloosa. And at this point, he's pretty much already at the mercy because this board is so hard to break, especially if you're wasting cards. And we're going to pretty much negate the True Blade also. At this point, he of course going to exceed, as you guys know with Zodiac. And we're going to just flip this face down, which is going to pretty much force our opponent to end their turn, and then they gave up. So Lost Swirl is so busted. So if you have like a Lost Swirl, you can add a baby to your hand with Archosaur or stuff. Don't just think, oh, I can't make any moves. The token on the field makes a huge difference. Once you can try to pop the token by any means necessary, you can pretty much go into Oviraptor and pretty much go off. Alright, let's get into the fifth and final duel. We don't want to get the video to get too long, so we're going to end here. And this is pretty much going to be the traditional way of doing the combo. This is pretty much for new players who actually want to get into Dino. All the other duels until now, we did it in a pretty much untraditional way. And if you watch my previous videos, you know how this is. But in case you haven't seen the previous video. So pretty much we're going to activate Fossil Dig here. And you want to always get a baby and a Soul Eating Oviraptor. Or you want to have a Mish and a baby, or any two combination of those cards. But once you have 2 out of 3 of baby, Soul Eating Oviraptor, and Mish, you could pretty much go full combo. So we're gonna activate the ability of Oviraptor, which allows us to add Mish to our hand. We can then toss the Mish and use the Mish graveyard ability to remove itself, add an Archosaur, popping the baby, and then you could get a double evolution pill, or more importantly, baby's graveyard ability activates, which allow you to get a baby from deck. You can now pop the baby to Oviraptor, bring it back once again a baby from the grave, and add a scrap to your side of the field. You can now pop the scrap raptor to add scrap Chimera from your deck to your hand, and you get a normal, extra normal summon from scrap monsters when you do this. So now we're gonna link into Linkaribo. This is once again just double evolution pill food, just in case you need to remove an extra link monster or something. At this point now you could go into Scrap Wyvern. You're going to activate the ability of Scrap Wyvern, which allows you to bring back your Chimera from the grave, and you can pop any one of the scrap monsters at this point. Bring back the Raptor. Now you can pop the baby, and this part's important. You choose Giant Rex, because when you double evolution pill, he's going to be able to return himself, and then you have an extra body on the field. So now you could go into Appaloosa above the Goddess, or even like some other Link 4 if you actually are going second and you want to finish your opponent. Activate the double evolution pill, and you can summon Conductor. And right here, you can of course then go in with the Giant Rex that gets returned when he's removed from play, and the Borreload Savage Dragon. Use Borreload's ability, and now he pretty much has 2 negates once per turn. And of course now we also have the Infinite, but let's say you didn't have the Infinite, you still have then 3 negates, 1 Omni Negate, and a huge interruption that could flip your opponent cards face down, stopping exceeds and stuff like that, stopping attacks. So we're going to pass to our opponent here. And it's actually a Magician deck, which is pretty cool. We play Magician, so we respect players for playing some fun decks. We do know Dark Magical Circle is very dangerous, so we're definitely going to negate that. So our opponent's going to send a Dark Magician to summon Illusionist Magician. And we're going to negate her ability because we don't actually want him getting another Dark Magician. We're going to just leave the one that's in the grave. He's going to activate Soul Servant, and he's going to add the circle back to the top of his deck. And then he's going to draw. So pretty much right now, the duel's pretty much over. He's at our mercy, and like you see, once this board is formed, there's very little what your opponent can do. So now we're just having some fun, just gonna show some extra stuff. So we summon Scrap Raptor, giving him the egg. Now we can of course pop the egg with Oviraptor, sending a baby. And in this case, we choose another Oviraptor, which allows us to add Mish. So this deck can just keep recycling so efficiently. We're just popping a baby, getting the Oviraptor, and now we're going to summon Lagia, because now we have another Omni Negate. There's pretty much nothing our opponent can do at this point. And we're going to just exceed here, and I think we're going to Abyss Dweller, because why not? There is so many options at this point, and our opponent's pretty much dead. I'm just showing you guys what the deck can do. So we're going to activate Ultimate Conductor's ability, doing 2000 damage. And now we can just go for a game. We're going to attack our opponent's going to try to activate Navigation. Of course, we have the Lagia, so we can just negate any card that tries to summon, you know, trap in magic. And we could just go in for game. Like I said, you guys saw this one before. I just wanted to show you guys, in case you're new or playing it into Dinos, how you can actually go into it the most traditional way. The hands that you're hoping to actually draw. Alright, let me show you guys the deck list. Alright guys, this is the deck list. If you want a more detailed explanation of why we play certain cards and how they combo off with each other, make sure to check out this video right here. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. My name is Jaden for Team Major J. Thank you for watching.